A New Hope. Zara stepped out of the spaceship and onto the gleaming platform of the Galactic Academy. The 12-year-old human girl gazed up in wonder at the towering spires and glittering domes that stretched endlessly into the alien sky. Species from 1,000 worlds hurried past her, a dizzying array of scales, feathers, and hues. Despite the marvels surrounding her, Zara couldn't shake the feeling of insignificance. She was just one small human among titans. Her fingers nervously smoothed her simple jumpsuit, a stark contrast to the lavish uniforms of her alien peers. "Keep your head high," a voice whispered behind her. Zara turned to see her older sister Nova emerging from the ship. Tall and lithe, with long dark hair and piercing green eyes, Nova exuded an aura of quiet power. Though only 16, her presence commanded attention and respect. Nova was a legend at the Galactic Academy, the first human to be accepted in generations, and the youngest student to ever complete the infamous trials. Her feats were whispered with awe throughout the galaxy. Some even called her the Chosen One. Zara longed for that same confidence as she followed Nova into the bustling halls of the Academy. Holographic displays flashed with announcements in 100 languages, while floating droids zipped overhead. "Well, well, look what the asteroid dragged in," sneered a reptilian alien as he slithered up to block their path. "Another pathetic human." His forked tongue flicked the air. "Your kind doesn't belong here." Nova stepped forward, her voice low and dangerous. "I choose your next words carefully, Zoltan." The alien bared his fangs, but slunk away into the crowd. Zara watched him go, a chill running down her spine. She knew her humanity made her a target here. Nova touched her shoulder gently. "You're going to face a lot of that here, little star. But remember, our humanity is our strength, not our weakness." As they approached the towering doors to the Great Hall, a hush fell over the assembled students. Even the most arrogant aliens stepped aside as Nova passed. She was a force to be reckoned with. Inside, a sphere of pure energy pulsed at the center of the room. The beacon, the heart of the Academy. It was said to contain the sum total of the Founder's knowledge. Zara felt drawn to it, but Nova pulled her back. "Only the worthy may approach the beacon," Nova whispered. "You'll have to prove yourself first." A chime sounded, and the students began to disperse to their dormitories. Nova walked Zara to her quarters, a small but comfortable room with a view of the stars. "Get some rest," Nova advised. "Tomorrow, your real challenges begin." She hesitated at the doorway. "I won't be able to help you, Zara. The path ahead is yours alone." With that cryptic message, Nova was gone, leaving Zara alone with her racing thoughts. She was just a normal girl from Earth. How was she supposed to survive in a school full of prodigies and powerhouses from across the galaxy? As she drifted off to sleep, Zora's mind replayed Nova's words. "Our humanity is our strength." She didn't fully understand what that meant, but she clung to it like a lifeline. In her dreams that night, Zara saw herself standing tall among the aliens, the beacon glowing behind her. She saw Nova smiling with pride. It was just a dream. But when Zara awoke the next morning, she felt a flicker of something new inside her, a tiny flame of hope. Maybe, just maybe, she could do this. With her sister's faith and her own human spirit, Zara would take on the Academy and show the galaxy what humanity was made of. But as she stepped out into the hallway ready to face the day, Zara had no idea of the trials, revelations, and betrayals that lay ahead of her. Her journey was just beginning. Trials and revelations. The first weeks at the Galactic Academy were a blur of strange classes and stranger classmates for Zara. In xenobiology, she studied creatures that defied imagination. In astroengineering, she struggled to keep up with the advanced concepts, but it was in combat training that Zara truly felt out of her depth. "Pathetic," spat her instructor, a hulking mass of muscle known as Krager. "Is that the best you can do, human?" Zara picked herself up from the mat, her body aching from the brutal training session. Around her, her alien peers smirked and whispered. She looked for Nova, hoping for a sign of encouragement, but her sister was nowhere to be found. Nova had been scarce lately, always rushing off to some secret project or private training. Just as Zara was about to give up, she noticed a small piece of paper tucked into her locker. On it was a series of numbers and symbols. It looked like gibberish, but something told Zora it was important. Nova's way of helping her from the shadows. Over the next few days, Zara began to notice similar clues appearing in her path. A cryptic message scrawled on her dorm mirror, a pattern of lights blinking in a classroom. Each one, when deciphered, led her to a new revelation. In the Academy's library, Zara discovered ancient texts that spoke of a prophecy, a chosen one who would bring balance to the galaxy. The texts hinted at a hidden power within the Academy itself. In the gardens, she overheard a group of teachers whispering about Nova. "She's getting too close to the truth," one said. "We must stop her before she jeopardizes everything." Zara's curiosity was piqued. What truth were they talking about? What was Nova involved in? She got her answer sooner than expected. During a particularly grueling training session, Zora's frustration boiled over. As Krieger taunted her, something snapped inside her. A burst of pure energy exploded from her hands, sending the massive instructor flying across the room. The other students stared in shock. Humans weren't supposed to have powers like that. Zara stared at her own hands in disbelief. Whispers began to spread through the academy. Zara heard them in the halls, saw them in the sideways glances and sudden silences when she entered her room. "She's just like her sister," they murmured. "Another freak." Zara confronted Nova that night. "What's happening to me?" she demanded. "What are you not telling me?" Nova sighed, the weight of secrets heavy on her shoulders. "You and we're different, Zara. We were born with a gift, a connection to the cosmos itself. That's why I brought you here, to the Academy, to help you understand and control your powers." Zara reeled from the revelation. All her life, she had felt ordinary, insignificant. Now she learned she was something more, something extraordinary. But Nova's next words chilled her to the bone. "There are those who fear our powers, Zara, who would see us destroyed. We must be careful." As if on cue, an alarm blared through the academy. Nova's eyes widened. "They're coming. Zara, you must hide. Don't let them find you." Zara wanted to protest, to demand more answers, but the look of urgency on Nova's face stopped her. She nodded and ran, her mind reeling. She didn't get far before she ran straight into Zoltan, the reptilian bully. But he wasn't sneering now. His eyes were wide with something like fear. "You," he hissed. "You're the one they're looking for." Before Zara could react, a group of shadowy figures emerged from the darkness. They wore the uniforms of Academy security, but something about them felt wrong, dangerous. "Come with us," one of them growled, reaching for Zara. Zoltan, in a surprising show of chivalry, stepped in front of her. "Run," he yelled. And run she did, her heart pounding, her mind racing. The Academy, her sister, her very identity. Everything she thought she knew had been turned upside down. As she fled into the night, Zara realized her trials were far from over. They were, in fact, just beginning. The Galactic Academy held secrets darker than the space between stars, and Zara was determined to uncover them all, no matter the cost. Little did she know, the greatest challenge of her life lay just ahead. The Gauntlet, a deadly competition that would test her powers, her wits, and her very humanity. Zara was about to face her destiny, and the fate of the galaxy hung in the balance. The Gauntlet. Zara crouched in the shadows of the Academy's lower levels, her heart pounding. The mysterious figures who had chased her were gone, but the fear remained. What did they want with her? And where was Nova? As if summoned by her thoughts, Nova appeared from the darkness. "Zara, thank the stars you're safe." She pulled her sister into a fierce hug. "Nova, what's going on?" Zara demanded. Who were those people? Nova's face was grim. "They're the Shadow Keepers, a secret society within the Academy." They believe the Founder's knowledge is too dangerous for anyone to possess, especially humans. Zara shivered. But why are they after me? Because of your power, Zara. And because of the prophecy. Nova took a deep breath. The Shadowkeepers will stop at nothing to prevent it from coming to pass. Before Zara could ask more, a booming voice echoed through the academy. Attention all students. The gauntlet will begin in 1 hour. Participants, prepare yourselves. Nova's eyes widened. The gauntlet? No, it's too soon. You're not ready. But Zara set her jaw. I'm ready, Nova. I have to be. It's the only way to prove myself, to show them all what I'm capable of. Against Nova's protests, Zara made her way to the Great Hall. It was packed with students, all buzzing with excitement. At the center of the room, the beacon pulsed with energy. Krager stepped forward, his eyes glinting. The gauntlet is a test of strength, skill, and wit. You will face challenges beyond your imagining. You will be pushed to your limits, and only one of you will emerge victorious. Zara lined up with the other participants, ignoring the sneers and jabs from her alien peers. She spotted Zoltan across the room. He met her gaze and nodded, a grudging respect in his eyes. The first challenge was a race through a shifting labyrinth. Walls appeared and vanished. Floors crumbled beneath their feet. Zara relied on her wits, navigating by memory and instinct. In the second challenge, they faced their deepest fears made manifest. For Zara, it was a vision of Earth, broken and lifeless. But she pushed through, reminding herself it wasn't real. Challenge after challenge, Zara surpassed expectations. Her human adaptability, her quick thinking, served her well. She began to climb the ranks, much to the shock and chagrin of her competitors. But as Zara advanced, she noticed something strange. The challenges seemed to be tailored to her, exploiting her specific weaknesses. And there were whispers of sabotage, of contestants being injured under suspicious circumstances. Zara's suspicions were confirmed in the penultimate round. She and Zoltan, now unlikely allies, were navigating a treacherous asteroid field when their ship was hit by a pulse of energy. They crash-landed on a barren moon. This wasn't part of the gauntlet, Zoltan hissed, nursing a wounded arm. Someone's trying to take us out of the competition. Zara's mind raced. Who would want to sabotage them? And then it hit her, the Shadowkeepers. They were trying to prevent the prophecy by ensuring she didn't win. Just then, a figure emerged from the shadows of the moon's craggy landscape. Zara recognized him as one of the Academy's most esteemed professors, but the look in his eyes was cold, calculating. Zara of Earth, he intoned, you have meddled in affairs beyond your understanding. The prophecy must not come to pass. The power must remain hidden. Zara stood tall, despite her fear. I don't know anything about a prophecy. I'm just here to prove myself, to show what humanity is capable of. The professor laughed, a harsh, grating sound. Foolish child, you have no idea of the forces you're dealing with. But no matter. You will not leave this moon alive. He raised his hand, energy crackling at his fingertips. But before he could strike, a blast of light knocked him off his feet. Nova stood at the edge of the crater, her eyes glowing with power. Zara, run, she yelled. Zara hesitated only a moment before grabbing Zoltan and fleeing to the ship. They managed to get it airborne, leaving Nova and the professor locked in a duel of cosmic energies. As they raced back to the academy, Zara's mind was reeling. Nova had saved her, but at what cost? And what was this prophecy everyone kept talking about? She didn't have time to ponder. The final challenge was upon them, a battle royale in the Great Hall. The last student standing would be declared the victor. As Zara stepped into the fray, she knew this was her moment. She would win the gauntlet, not just for herself, but for Nova, for humanity, for the truth. She would uncover the secrets of the Academy, no matter the danger. But first, she had to survive. Energy blasts crisscrossed the room. Students fell left and right. Zara dodged and wove, using her environment to her advantage. She was a whirlwind of determination and desperation. In the end, it came down to Zara and one other student, a hulking brute of an alien. They circled each other, battered and bruised, both on the brink of collapse. But Zara had one advantage. She was fighting for something greater than herself. With a final, desperate push, she unleashed a burst of cosmic energy, channeling all her fear, her love, her hope. The alien fell, and the room went silent. Then a cheer rose up. Zara, Zara, Zara. She had done it. She had won the gauntlet. But as Zara stood there, basking in her triumph, she knew this was only the beginning. The real battle, the battle for the truth, was still to come. And she would need all her human ingenuity, all her courage, to emerge victorious. For in the shadows of the academy, a conspiracy was unfolding, one that threatened not just Zara, but the entire galaxy. The gauntlet was over. But Zara's greatest test was yet to come: human ingenuity. In the aftermath of the gauntlet, Zara found herself the center of attention. Students who had once mocked her now whispered her name with awe. Professors regarded her with a mix of admiration and wariness. But Zara couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. Nova was still missing, and the Shadowkeeper's threat loomed large in her mind. She needed answers, and she had a feeling she wouldn't find them in the gleaming halls of the academy. Late one night, Zara snuck out of her dorm room and made her way to the lower levels, where she had first encountered the Shadowkeepers. She had a hunch that the answers she sought lay in the academy's hidden depths. As she crept through the darkened corridors, Zara heard voices up ahead. She ducked into a shadowy alcove and held her breath. "The girl is becoming a problem," a deep voice said. "She's asking too many questions." "Then we must eliminate her," another voice responded, and Zara's blood ran cold. They were talking about her. "No," the first voice said. "We need her. She's the key to everything. We must convince her to join us." Zara's mind raced. Join them? Why would she ever join the Shadowkeepers? She waited until the voices faded before continuing on. She came to a massive door, sealed with a complex lock. Zara examined it, her brow furrowed. It was unlike anything she had seen before, a combination of technology and something else, something ancient. She thought back to her classes, to the lessons on alien cultures and ancient civilizations. There was something familiar about the symbols etched into the door. With a flash of insight, Zara began to manipulate the lock. It was a combination of physical movement and mental energy, a puzzle that required both intelligence and intuition. Click, click, click. With a final, satisfying clunk, the door swung open. Zara stepped into a vast chamber, lit by an eerie green glow. In the center of the room was a pedestal, and on that pedestal was a book. It was ancient, its pages crumbling, but Zara could feel the power emanating from it. This was the Founder's Tome, the source of the Academy's knowledge, and it was calling to her. As if in a trance, Zara approached the pedestal. She reached out, her fingers brushing the worn leather cover. "Zara, no." Nova's voice shattered the silence. Zara spun around to see her sister standing in the doorway, her face pale. "Nova, what are you doing here?" "Stopping you from making a terrible mistake." Nova approached slowly, her eyes fixed on the tome. "That book, it's not what you think it is." Zara frowned. "What do you mean?" Nova took a deep breath. The Founders, they weren't benevolent beings seeking to share their wisdom. They were conquerors, Zara. They used their knowledge to dominate and destroy. Zara shook her head in disbelief. "No, that can't be true." "It is," Nova insisted. "And the Shadowkeepers, they're not trying to protect the galaxy. They're trying to use the Founders' power for themselves." Zara's world spun. Everything she thought she knew was crumbling around her. "Then why are we here, Nova? Why bring me to the Academy?" Nova's eyes were sad. Because of the prophecy, Zara. It says that a human will either save the galaxy or destroy it. I brought you here to make sure it was the former. Before Zara could respond, a slow clap echoed through the chamber. The Shadow Keepers emerged from the darkness, led by the professor who had attacked Zara on the moon. "Bravo, Nova," he said. "You figured it out. But it's too late. The power will be ours." Nova stepped in front of Zara, her fists glowing with energy. "You'll have to go through me first." The professor laughed. "With pleasure." The chamber erupted into chaos. Nova and the Shadow Keepers clashed in a dazzling display of cosmic power. Zara, meanwhile, found herself facing off against the professor's acolytes. She was outnumbered and outmatched, but Zara refused to give up. She thought back to her human history, to the stories of underdogs and revolutionaries. They had faced impossible odds and triumphed through sheer ingenuity and determination. Zara looked around the chamber, her mind racing. The Shadow Keepers were powerful, but they were also arrogant. They underestimated her because she was human. She feinted left, then right, leading her opponents on a merry chase around the chamber. She used the environment to her advantage, toppling bookcases and shattering artifacts to create obstacles and distractions. And then, in a flash of inspiration, Zara saw her chance. She lunged for the Founder's Tome, snatching it from the pedestal. "Zara, what are you doing?" Nova cried, but Zara didn't answer. She focused all her mental energy on the book, pouring her will into its ancient pages. The tome began to glow, brighter and brighter, until it was a blinding beacon in the darkness. The Shadow Keepers cried out in alarm, shielding their eyes. Nova, understanding Zara's plan, added her own power to the mix. In a burst of searing light, the tome exploded. The Shadow Keepers were thrown back, their powers diminished. The source of their strength, the Founder's knowledge, was gone. In the aftermath, Zara and Nova stood amidst the rubble, breathless and triumphant. "You did it," Nova whispered. "You saved us all." But Zara shook her head. "No, we did it. Humans and aliens working together. That's the real power in the galaxy." As they emerged from the depths, Zara knew the fight was not over. The Shadow Keepers were weakened but not defeated, and there were still many secrets to uncover. But she also knew that she wouldn't face these challenges alone. She had Nova, her friends, and most importantly, her own human spirit. Together, they could face anything the galaxy threw at them. The Academy would never be the same, but perhaps, Zara thought, that was a good thing. It was time for a new era, one of unity, understanding, and the unstoppable power of human ingenuity. With a smile on her face and a fire in her heart, Zara stepped out into the light, ready for whatever came next. The final stand. In the days following the destruction of the Founder's Tome, a strange calm settled over the Academy. The Shadow Keepers had retreated, licking their wounds, but Zara knew they hadn't given up. They were planning something big. She and Nova worked tirelessly to uncover their plot. They deciphered ancient codes, hacked into secret databases, and pieced together snippets of overheard conversations. And what they discovered chilled them to the bone. The Shadow Keepers were planning to overthrow the Academy, to seize control of the galaxy's most powerful institution. And they were going to use the upcoming cosmic convergence to do it. The cosmic convergence was a rare celestial event, a time when the barriers between dimensions were at their thinnest. It was a time of great power and great danger. Zara and Nova knew they had to stop the Shadow Keepers, but they couldn't do it alone. They needed help, allies who could fight alongside them. Zara thought of her classmates, the aliens who had once mocked and belittled her. Could she convince them to join her cause? She started with Zoltan. The reptilian warrior had been her fiercest rival, but also her staunchest defender. When Zara explained the situation, Zoltan didn't hesitate. "I will fight with you," he declared, "for the honor of the Academy and for the future of the galaxy." One by one, Zara recruited her fellow students. There was Lyra, the brilliant Andorian strategist, Kix, the powerful Klingon warrior, and Raxon, the enigmatic Romulan telepath. Together, they'd formed a team unlike any the Academy had ever seen. Humans and aliens, once divided by mistrust and prejudice, now united by a common goal. They trained in secret, honing their skills and their teamwork. Zara taught them human fighting techniques, while they shared their own unique abilities. They became a force to be reckoned with. But the Shadowkeepers were not idle. As the cosmic convergence approached, they made their move. In the dead of night, they struck at the heart of the Academy, seizing control of the central command center. Alarms blared throughout the complex. Students and faculty alike found themselves under attack, the Shadowkeepers' forces overwhelming them with sheer numbers and advanced weaponry. Zara and her team sprang into action. They fought their way through the chaos, their diverse skills working in perfect harmony. Zoltan's strength, Lyra's tactics, Kix's ferocity, Raxon's mental prowess. Together, they were unstoppable. At the command center, they faced the leader of the Shadowkeepers, a figure cloaked in darkness. He wielded the power of the void, a malevolent energy that threatened to consume everything in its path. "You are too late," he crowed. "The convergence is upon us. The power of the Founders will be mine." But Zara stepped forward, her eyes glowing with a different kind of power. The power of hope, of unity, of the unbreakable human spirit. "You're wrong," she said. "The power of the Founders is nothing compared to the power we hold within ourselves. The power of connection, of friendship, of love. That is the true strength of the galaxy." With those words, Zora unleashed a blast of pure energy. It was not the destructive force of the void, but something else, something warm and bright and alive. The Shadowkeeper staggered back, his darkness dissipating in the face of Zora's light. Around them, the battle raged on, but Zora's team was winning. The tide was turning. In a final, desperate move, the Shadowkeeper lunged at Zora, his hands crackling with void energy. But Nova was there, leaping in front of her sister, taking the brunt of the blast. She fell to the ground, her life force flickering. Zora cradled her sister in her arms, tears streaming down her face. "Why?" she whispered. Nova smiled weakly. "Because that's what sisters do. They protect each other." With a final surge of strength, Nova poured her energy into Zora. It was a transfer of power, of knowledge, of love. And as Nova faded away, Zara felt something awaken within her, a connection to the cosmos itself. She rose to her feet, glowing like a star. The Shadowkeeper cowered before her, his power insignificant in the face of Zora's cosmic might. "It's over," Zora declared. "The Academy is ours. The galaxy is free." And with a burst of blinding light, it was done. The Shadowkeepers were no more, their darkness banished to the farthest reaches of space. In the aftermath, the Academy was transformed. No longer a place of secrets and lies, it became a beacon of truth, of knowledge freely shared. Aliens and humans alike studied side by side, learning from each other, growing together. And at the center of it all was Zora. She was not just a student anymore, but a leader, a visionary. Under her guidance, the Academy reached out to the farthest stars, bringing light to the darkest corners of the galaxy. There were still challenges to face, still mysteries to unravel. But Zara faced them all with the same courage, the same determination, the same unshakable belief in the power of the human spirit. For she knew, now more than ever, that anything was possible, that the future was hers to shape, hers to dream. And as she stood atop the Academy's highest tower, gazing out at the infinite expanse of space, Zara smiled. The universe was vast, and she was just one small human. But she was a human who had changed the course of galactic history, a human who had proven, beyond any doubt, the extraordinary potential that lay within every beating heart. Zara took a deep breath, ready for her next adventure. The galaxy was calling, and she would answer. Always forward, never back, to the stars and beyond, for she was human, and that was her greatest strength of all.